Hi everyone! Welcome back to UT Kids. If you remember, my name is Kim and I'm your new Sunday school teacher. And we have a special guest today. This is my husband, Pastor Paul. And Pastor Paul really wanted to get to know you all a little bit better, so I'll let him introduce himself.
Thanks. Hi everyone. I'm excited for UT Kids and doing connecting with videos and other places. I wanted just a chance to say hi and to be your pastor and get to know some of you even during this time of videos and video calls. One fun fact about me, ever since I was very young, I have always loved to play Super Mario and Zelda. So since the classic days all the way now to Nintendo Switch, I am a big fan of all things Nintendo. So we are going to be talking today a little bit about Lent. Now, Lent is a time when we are invited to remember that even when we're afraid, a lot of us, or all of us at some point have been afraid, even when we feel afraid and alone, that God is with us, that we're actually never truly alone, and in the end, things will work out. I remember when I was really young, like 5 years old, one time my mom lost me in a supermarket store. So it was this big store and I was lost and I felt very scared. I didn't know where to go or what to do or if I would ever be found, and it worked out in the end. But I remember that experience of not knowing where to go or what to do. And I think Jesus reminds us that when we feel that way at one point or another, that God is with us and things will be okay in the end.
Yeah, and speaking of Jesus, I'd love to get to read a Bible story to you today from Jesus in the Storybook Bible. And it shares the story of Jesus and his friends, where his friends were afraid, feeling very fearful, and let's see Jesus' response to that. This story is called The Captain of the Storm, and it's from Mark 4 and Matthew 8. The sun was going down. The air was warm and still. "Let's go across the lake," Jesus said to his friends. Jesus had been helping people all day, and now he was tired. So they left the crowds at the shore and set out in a small fishing boat. Jesus climbed into the boat to take a nap. As soon as his head touched the pillow, he fell fast asleep. It was a beautiful evening. A gentle breeze rustled the sails. The friends were chatting happily as they headed out into the middle of the lake. Everything was perfect, just right for a nice, quiet sail. They were only about halfway across when, out of nowhere, whirling winds swept across the lake, fierce and strong, like a hurricane. A blinding flash of lightning lit up the sky. Thunder roared right overhead. The storm blew the water into towering waves that hurled the little boat up, 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 then sent it hurtling, crashing back down, down, down. The fishing boat was blown and buffeted and tossed and turned, back and forth, and up and down, and left and right, and round and round. And in the middle of the storm, Jesus was sleeping. Now Jesus' friends had been fishermen all their lives, but in all their years fishing on the lake, they had never once seen a storm like this one. No matter how hard they struggled with their ropes and sails, they couldn't control the boat. This storm was too big for them. But the storm wasn't too big for Jesus. "Help!" they screamed. "Wake up! Quick, Jesus!" Jesus opened his eyes. "Rescue us! Save us!" they shrieked. "Don't you care?" Of course Jesus cared, and this was the very reason he had come, to rescue them and to save them. Jesus stood up and spoke to the storm. "Hush," he said. That's all. And the strangest thing happened. The wind and the waves recognized Jesus' voice. They had heard it before, of course. It was the same voice that made them in the very beginning. They listened to Jesus and they did what he said. Immediately the wind stopped. The water calmed down. It glittered innocently in the moonlight and lapped quietly against the side of the boat, as if nothing had happened. The little boat bobbed gently up and down. There was a deep stillness and a great quiet all around. Then Jesus turned to his wind-torn friends. "Why were you scared?" he asked. "Did you forget who I am? Did you believe your fears instead of me?" Jesus' friends were quiet as the wind and the waves, and into their hearts came a different kind of storm. "What kind of man is this?" they asked themselves anxiously. "Even the winds and the waves obey him," they said, because they didn't understand. They didn't realize yet that Jesus was the Son of God. Jesus' friends had been so afraid they had only seen the big waves. They had forgotten that if Jesus was with them, then they had nothing to be afraid of, no matter how small their boat or how big the storm. In today's story, we heard about some of Jesus' friends being afraid, and they went to Jesus to tell him that they were afraid. And you know what? He was listening. He was there. He cared about their worries. And so I want to show you a little activity, an art activity today that might help you in your worries and remind you that God also is listening to you in those times where you feel afraid or you're scared. God is with you. And so today we're going to be making these little guys. They're called a worry buddy. And so my little worry buddy is someone I can talk to when I'm afraid or I'm scared, and know that God is also hearing me when I share my worries to my worry buddy. And so you might want to get your parents or a grandparent to help you out today in this activity. And the tools you'll need are some scissors, some string. This is called crochet thread, but you really can use any type of string in your home, and some colorful yarn. Now I'm choosing to use 2 colors today, but you can choose to do 1 color or 3 colors or however many colors you want. So feel free to be as creative as you want. And so first, you'll take your 2, well, for me, I'm using 2 threads. So you'll take your 2 pieces of yarn and you want to wrap it around your 4 fingers. And do this about 20 times. So this is my 4th, 5th. Make sure that you don't wrap too tight. You want it kind of loose around your hands. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because you want to be able to slide it off your hand in the end. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, then you'll take your scissors and cut it. Now you take your piece of thread and loop it through. This is the part where you can slide the yarn off gently, and you want to loop it through up here on the top. Now, to secure it, I'm going to make something called a surgeon's knot, which is really just a double knot. So to do that, I do 1 tie and then another tie. So 2 ties, and then I can pull it tight. And then you can do 1 more knot just to make sure your yarn is secure. Okay, now you can snip off this piece of thread, and I like to make a little loop by tying, because then you can hang it and use it as a Christmas tree ornament, or you can hang it in your room, so you know where it is when you're feeling worried. You can even use it as a keychain on your backpack. So once you make that tie, now we're going to make the head of the worry doll. So you can choose any one of your colorful yarns, and I'm going to use this purple one. So snip off a piece. It doesn't need to be too long, just enough to go around the head. And you're going to clump, or you're going to want to make the head maybe about this much, but it really can be any size, and it's okay. Some dolls have small heads, some dolls have big heads, and then tie the string around to make your head. You can tie it twice just to be extra secure. Now you have a head in some, it looks like a big skirt right now, so we're going to cut it apart by finding the loop again, and using your scissors you can kind of put through and snip, snip, snip. This part you might want to have your parents and grandparents help. And so any pieces you didn't get, you can clip. See some here, and then clip there. It will look a bit uneven at first, so you can clips. If you're wanting some of your yarn threads to be even, you can go ahead and clip some of them, but also it creates a cool texture in case you don't mind them being different sizes and different lengths. I'm doing it off camera so that I don't make a mess everywhere, but here, now you can see it's a little more even. Now, you can either leave it like this, this creates a nice doll as well, or if you want to give it more of a body and shape, you can create arms by counting out 10 strings. So I'm going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it doesn't have to be exact. The fun thing about art is you really can make it whatever you'd like. And I'm going to take another piece of my yarn, clip off a small piece, and tie it around these 10 strings to make the arm. There. Now, some of my arm pieces are a little long. It's looking kind of crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors and clip it the same length. There. Now you have a nice little arm. And you can do it to the other side. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There. So 10 strings on this side. I'm going to do the same thing where I cut off a little piece of string. And tie it around the arm. I don't know if you can see this. There you go. And one more knot just to be extra secure. Okay, now I'm going to make all my crazy fingers the same length. There we go. And now you see there are 2 arms. Now, for me, I'm going to make one more string around the body, just so you can see more of a shape. And to do this, take another string, you can clip it off. We're going to make a little belt around his waist. Oops, it's kind of hard to do on camera, but so I'm going to move it down here and just, I'll show you in a bit what it looks like, but I'll just tie the string around his waist. So see, it makes more of a body. Okay, so some people like to just leave it right here. This is a perfectly great doll, but if you want to add little legs, you would just kind of separate these two bottom pieces and tie another string right here and another string right here, and then it would create two legs, kind of like in my example. It would look like this, but I kind of like this little doll to have a big skirt, so I'm going to leave it this way. There we go, and that's how you make a worry buddy. So, whenever you're feeling afraid or scared, maybe say some of your worries to your buddy and know that God is listening to every single one of these worries, that God is with you and God cares about you in your fears and loves you very much. I hope you enjoyed making this activity, and stay tuned for next month. We have another video coming up, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all then. Take care. Bye.